Everyone. This is Richard McCarthy. I'm the president of the World Farmers Markets Coalition. I am here with several of my colleagues who are from the International Secretariat. So, of course, as is the moment of that we are in, Viola is in Ghana. We have Julia and Manuel in the office, and I got a glimpse of Carmelo, who is either in Lebanon or back in Rome. We are going to spend the next 60 minutes with you to walk you through the steps of how to conduct the farmers market count, biodiversity, the first phase of the campaign. We'll walk you through the steps of the tools that we've developed. We are recording this webinar. Also, if you are speaking either Italian or Spanish, by all means, please use the interpretation. We're very lucky to have simultaneous translation. So select that on the Zoom button. We've got a lot to pack into here. We are recording this so that you can share this with your team. We've got many slides with useful information on it, so you can review that afterwards. But since time is tight, I'll go ahead and hand it over to my colleague, Viola, who is ready to get us started.
Thank you, Richard, and hello, everyone. Happy to be here with you today. As Richard was saying, we have many slides or information to share, so I'm going to be quick, but not as quick as usual for the interpreters. So, yeah, Julia, you can move on the next slide, please. So I would like to start by actually introducing you what you're going to be what are we going to be covering today, which are the purpose of the webinar, the campaign Hey Count on Biodiversity, a presentation, an overall presentation again of the campaign, how to count biodiversity, introducing you the methodology instructions, how to prepare for and manage on the day of the counting, and then of course how to communicate before, during and post campaign, and the calendar and the next steps. Julia, you can move on the next slide, please. Thank you. And again, so starting from what you're going to learn today, very quickly, I think you can expect from this webinar to understand how to count biodiversity at your market by getting insights on how to prepare for the day, how to use the developed survey that we have drafted for you, both in the digital and printed version, what to do on the day of the counting, and also how to report the data collected. I can start saying that for the reporting phase, we are also gonna organize most probably a specific webinar, so an extra webinar in the upcoming weeks, because it's just too much to put everything in 1 hour. And then on the second part of the webinar, we're gonna dive in on the communication. So understand how to join the pre, during, and post-campaign phases, and what this entails in terms of communication, messages, and platforms to use, how to maximize your reach, and which material we will share with you over the upcoming weeks, and also what to expect for the upcoming webinars that I really strongly recommend you to join, which are on the 22nd, 29th of April. The next slide, please, Julia. And then again, thank you. Just a quick introduction about the campaign again. So the Farmers Market Count is a global campaign and a call to action, because there is going to be the counting that is going to happen on all the markets. So there is an active moment of involvement. The message is one, and it's Farmers Market Count, but there are 3 moments to join this campaign. And now today we are introducing moments campaign A, so the first moment, where we're going to count biodiversity at the markets in occasion of the International Day of Biological Diversity. So the The International Day for Biological Diversity is on the 22nd of May, but the whole week, meaning from the 19th of May until the 25th of May, you will be able to count and run live the counting at your markets. So that it's gonna be the during, what we call it during phase in the communication purpose that Julia is gonna explain later, where every market will count at the markets according to when you are open, right? So we have left all week. Please, the next slide, Julia. Counting biodiversity, I think it's important to understand why this matter, and it's because biodiversity is often overlooked despite its recognition worldwide and across research and science of their benefits for food security, nutrition, and sustainable food systems. The role of farmers market in preserving and growing biodiversity, so acknowledging that. And what we want to actually communicate by counting biodiversity is to recognize farmers market contribution for biodiversity preservation and growth, foster a culture of evaluation that promotes leadership among farmers market practitioners, and reward those who cultivate biodiversity and traditional knowledge, so the farmers. Next slide, please, Julia. And I think it's also important to introduce, to start the webinar, what biodiversity in market means. And I know that Richard is going to explain this better during the presentation of the survey, but just to understand, it includes all the diversity of domesticated crops, livestock, and farmed fish and aquatic invertebrates, forest trees, and wild harvested aquatic species. And again, all those distinctive kinds of fruit, nuts, vegetables, tubers, greens, herbs, and oilseeds that you can find in the market, but also the animals and the animal protein. And this distinction is going to be explained better by Richard, but keep it in mind through the presentation. And so what we want you to really highlight during the day is counting. Go to that farmers that cultivate and preserve different varieties of tomatoes and pumpkins, or have or breed a special like goat that is typical from that area, or cow, and count that and express that through your social media and channels to make the case that farmers market count when it comes to biodiversity preservation and growth again. And the next slide, please, Julia. Again, just to go back to what we presented on the 24th, for these specific campaigns, so we're talking about campaign A now, the goal is to count more than 500 biodiverse products in your farmers market, or across all the farmers market that we're gonna survey. And the objectives are to actually communicate that farmers market count when it comes, again, to preserve and promoting food biodiversity and access to biodiversity diet. The audience in this case are policymakers and local decision makers, and also potential farmers market partners. And please, this means that if you know any organization that is working with biodiversity in your locality, in your city, in your region, this is a good moment to maybe decide to work with them or to collaborate and establish a connection, because they can help you leverage the message, and maybe they can even join the market on the day of counting and help you with that. And the next slide. And to conclude, I would like to highlight some results and impact we expected from this campaign. Again, highlighting the vast biodiversity that you can encounter on the farmers market, increased farmers market association capacity of data collection communication, because it's very relevant, and this is just an exercise that we hope it can help you actually to other data collections and other research you can run in your farmers market. Highlight the growing public interest in both supply and demand actually for biodiverse diets. Emphasize the importance of supporting community-driven initiatives like farmers markets which promote biodiversity preservation, help farmers identify living out of it, and make biodiversity diets more accessible to consumers. And finally, of course, advocate for local food policy that support farmers market and the work that they do in preserving, yes, biodiversity, but also making and securing livelihood for the people, the farmers that are like growing the biodiversity and making sure that future generation will still encounter it. Yeah, I think this was my last slide, and then I leave the word to Richard. Thank you.
Thank you, Viola, and thank you for setting the stage of why we are launching this exciting new campaign. We know that farmers markets are a lifeline for biodiversity. Many crops, traditional crops, local crops, have begun to disappear because the channels with which they are rewarded, where they are grown and purchased and valued, have disappeared under the efficiency and the scale of industrial food systems. This is where we come in. This is one of our great strengths. We know this. For those of us who manage markets, we see it. We know that shoppers know it. And yet we don't talk about it in a way that may engage policymakers, the way it may engage the decisions that we have at Ministry of Agriculture or your local extension service to focus on the extraordinary biodiversity that a particular place has. So this is our opportunity to physically go into the market on the week of World Biodiversity Day, so the 22nd of May. Anywhere that wraps around that date, you have a market, is a great opportunity to conduct a survey. If you run more than one market, of course, you could do more than one survey, but they would be separate, entries. So maybe choose one market that you want to physically go in and take a tally. You're taking a poll of counting the biodiversity. So while the names of the different biodiverse products may matter, that may be where you put that in the qualitative study, not the quantitative. So we're conducting, trying to glean two bunches of information. One is the actual count, the number of varieties of products that you have in the market. So it's an actual numerical count. And then we'll ask you to select one product that is a particularly good example of your biodiversity in the market. It may be a particularly unique product, unique to your location, or one that's symbolic that really defines who and where you are. So the way you will do this is you'll be online and offline. We'll have the tools in English, Italian, and Spanish. So there'll be different versions in the different languages that'll be available on the Google platform that you have access to. There are three important document links that you will use. One is the instructions. It'll be a PDF that you can print out, share with your team in advance, and it will have important links in it. It'll also describe the process that you'll go through. There will be a polling sheet. This is a Google sheet, like an Excel spreadsheet, but it's a Google sheet that you'll input the data and then upload it into our survey mechanism. It's also something that we also provide you with a PDF printout of this. We know that some of you are very high tech and can use a tablet, an iPad, and actually conduct the study online while you're there in the market. We also know that most of us are not, and that it's very difficult to maintain a connection to the internet while you're in the market. So we have some printout sheets so you can manually add the numbers with a pen or a pencil. And then you would key in that information onto the Google sheet, which you will save as your version. We have instructions of how to save it. And then you'll upload it into the third important document, the one in blue, is the biodiversity poll. So this is a Google form. If you've ever done like a Google survey online, this is how you will input your information. Julie, if we could go to the next slide, and I'll go into a little bit more detail here. So the instructions are just as like what you see on the screen. We're walking you step by step for how do you what do you do before? How do you conduct your polling on the polling day? So what materials will you need? What kind of training do you give to your polling team, your pollsters? And so you'll have that printout with the instructions. And then the next slide. And and then really the epicenter of where you will be uploading and inputting the data is on a Google form, which will have, again, 3 different versions. So if you're inputting in Spanish, this will all be in Spanish, Italian, or English. We know, and we've already had some requests from those who find the farmers market count name, the slogan, they want to translate that into their own local language in order to explain it better. Of course, just share that with us. But in terms of the tools that we can provide, I'm afraid we can only provide English, Italian, and Spanish. So this will be the form where you'll key in the name of the name of the person inputting it, the email of the person inputting the data, the name of the market, the country of the market, the day that the survey is conducted, and then uploading this Google sheet that you will fill in. And we can go to the next slide. I can show you. I think it's in the next one. It'll show you. Even before we get there are 3 sections in the biodiversity poll. So section 1 is the introduction, explaining, where you are, the links, useful links, and we try and put the links in all the documents so you can't lose sight of these 3 sheets you'll need. Section 2 is where you upload your biodiversity poll, and I'll describe in a moment how you'd be inputting that. So this is the Google sheet, of which you may print out the print version, actually mark it up with a pen so that when you go through and look for apples, you'll find how many different varieties of apples you have. And then you'll key that into the Google sheet and you'll upload that. So that sheet is something you'll have for your own purpose, because it'll have a count of how many products you have in the market that day. And it'll also come to our headquarters where we'll be able to tabulate all of this to get a global picture, which will also be helpful in projecting how vast and geographically dispersed and how rich our biodiversity is at our farmers markets. And then section 3, we can go back just 1 second. Section 3 is you'll input and upload your storytelling. So when you do actually zero in on a particular product with a particular story showing the human role in biodiversity, who is the farmer that grows this particular product, we encourage you to take photographs of the product, photographs of the farmer. You could take video of the polling going on in the market, video footage of your market, just short little videos. Fantastic to have that. That'll also help us to project the whole global picture. Okay, next slide. So there are 3 sections. When you get to the polling sheet, you can see you can print out a PDF for market day. So it just looks like a big spreadsheet. And then once you've filled it out, you've conducted the polling, it probably will only take 1 individual to go through the market. You could, depending upon the size of the market, you could hand it off to make sure you're not double polling, but you could have more than 1 individual do it if it takes too much time. But the idea is that 1 person walks through the market with this printout, and then once the printout has been filled out with all the biodiversity, then you go to the Google sheet, which you download from the site. It'll be your version of the Google sheet, and you will fill out what you've seen in the market that day. You can go to the next slide. So the questions on the sheet, and this is, I think, I'm so glad we have this opportunity to share this. We know that in your market, you may have categories of products based on maybe health regulations. You may have categories of products based on the kind of product mix you want in the market. So set those aside. Don't think about the 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 way the product may be processed, but just think about the variety, the biodiversity variety of the product. So we have identified these as the categories related to food: fruits, vegetables, herbs, grains, legumes, and animal proteins. And by animal proteins, we mean also fish or goat or sheep or pig, or it doesn't matter, any kind of animal protein. And importantly, the animal protein may be a dairy product from the cow as well as the beef. So we don't have to differentiate like, oh, well, we have this animal protein in these forms. We're interested in the biodiversity, not the way in which it is processed or value is added to it. Similarly, with the herbs can be fresh, dried, they could still be live plants. We're just looking for the biodiversity. So if you have herbs in the market and you identify on the herbs sheet, um, parsley, it can be dried or fresh or still in the ground in a little pot. That would still be, if it's one variety of parsley, then it's one, not multiple. Now, I'll show this by going to the next slide. So a great example of a product that a farmer's market can usually showcase the level of biodiversity, the health of the local agricultural economy, is tomatoes. So if you select tomatoes, and that goes written into the product, and you walk through the market, what you're going to be looking for are the varieties of tomatoes. You don't have to write down the names, like is it Better Boy or Brandywine or San Marzano. What you're looking for is how many different varieties do you have present? And you may find that, for instance, tomatoes or apples may be the one that you really want to zero in on the storytelling. And so the storytelling is once you've done your count and you see, my gosh, look how many different varieties of this product we have. Then what you would do is select one variety. Say you have tomatoes and you select one variety that you think is particularly important. Maybe it's a Brandywine because it's got a great story of why it is grown in your region. It comes specifically from your region, for instance, or a migrant brought it, and it's an important part of your human storytelling of your region's food. And then you would select that maybe that one farmer who grows that tomato, and then you would input on the Google form a story about that individual. We will then provide you with the kind of template for how to report on that story so that you're able to show your farmers market's biodiversity in the number count, the numerical count of how many biodiverse, how rich is the biodiversity of your farmers market by the number of individual products, different varieties and breeds, as well as through the storytelling. So uploading the photos or videos of the farmer or the product. Okay, next slide. And so then we will provide you with these templates. So templates for social media, narrative templates with storytelling, so that you're able to report back to the kinds of partners that Viola described, whether they're in public policy or they already work in biodiversity or a news media, that the farmers market is an epicenter of biodiversity. And we can share this through the numbers, we can share this through the narrative story and the visual story. Next slide. How to prepare and manage for the day of counting. And this is where I'll show you the specifics. So you'll be downloading the polling sheets. You're going to bring a clipboard, writing instruments, train your pollsters so that they know what to look for and how to walk through the market and actually count with that printout of our sheet. And on the market day, you may want to consider some of these in advance. Preparing the vendors so that there's going to be someone walking around, maybe wearing a uniform or a special hat or a sign that they're going to be conducting polling so they don't get all concerned as to what's going on here. As Viola described, you could invite sympathetic nonprofit partners who care about biodiversity. You could do a tasting, a sampling of, let's say you have 12 different varieties of apples in your market. Maybe not this time of the year. Maybe it's strawberries. You have 10 different varieties of strawberries, and you could have a sampling, a tasting, so people can learn about the different flavors and the different flavor profiles. This can often be a moment where shoppers for the first time realize that there are so many different varieties. Um, you you might want to impress upon the media that we're conducting this activity today, and that's a good visual. Also, the idea of doing a Facebook Live or Instagram Live and streaming this would be marvelous. That, like, gosh, we've got polling going on today because we are recognizing the importance of world biodiversity promotion and preservation. Next slide. So here's what the sheets look like. You find apples, bananas, cherries, whatever the products are. These are organized by fruits, vegetables, so individual sheets. You then would just mark up with a hatch, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products. And then you just count the different varieties that you've got on site. Now, whether you want to make a mark of some of the names as you go along, that's fine. But remember, what we're counting is the number of varieties. Next slide. So that's how you'd conduct the study. If you've ever done any kind of quantitative work in the market, it's clipboards, it's walking through the market and conducting a count. And then when you come back to the office, it's then keying in the information online. And then once the information's in there, the excitement is, how do we communicate this? And this is where Julia will walk you through the communication strategy.
Thank you, Richard. So hello, everyone. Today I'm going to show you the campaign plan that we have for this campaign A about biodiversity. So first of all, the overview of the plan is that the campaign is divided into 3 phases: the pre-phase, during, and post-phase. On the first phase, it's all about building the curiosity and spread the message that farmer markets help protect biodiversity. And this campaign is about recognizing and celebrating that topic. During the campaign, we want to spotlight the moment. It's time to go loud, to go local, but of course global, as we are doing this campaign globally. The message here that we want to give to people is to show the world that biodiversity lives in the farmer market, and we want all our communities to see themselves as a part of something bigger. So they're not alone, but they are part of something. In this case, the World Farmer Market Count campaign. The post phase of the campaign starts when the counting at the market is done. And here we want to shift the focus on the reflection and recognition that of the data that we have. Right in this phase, the numbers are all collected, and it's important to make something good with this number to create awareness and also do actions. Now we're focusing on the setting the stage, so the pre-campaign phase. And here the goal is to build anticipation, create community, get as many applications as we can, and also engage with key stakeholders. So when we have the big day at the market, we already have some awareness around us. The key message is to preserving that farmer markets help preserving biodiversity, promoting local and sustainable. Through counting biodiversity, we aim to recognize their contribution to foster evaluation and reward those products. The platforms that we want to use in this phase, but also on the other phase, are the social media such as Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, but also the website, our and your personal website, WhatsApp, newsletter, and also if you have other platforms that you use to promote your market, you can share all the information about this campaign on that platforms too. The key dates for this phase are April 22, where we are going to have the second webinar on Canva, April 29, where I will show you some tips to make photos and videos at the market, and May 8, when we will give you the layout and the design for this campaign. So now I will share with you some tips on what to do in this phase. First of all, I suggest you to explore the shared drive, where all the things regarding this campaign are focused. Then to check the calendar, and you should receive the email with the basic information to navigate through the shared drive and the calendar. In this calendar, you will see all the key dates that we have, and you can plan accordingly with your needs. And also, you need to spread the word through word of mouth or digital. So as you prefer, but the most important part is to spread the word. Some design that you will have are edible, so you can add here your logo, and other graphic are static. So for example, on this graphic, we just added a bit of a text. If you want, you can keep this text and add your logo here, or if you want to add other information in this part, you can of course do it. The only thing that we ask you is to don't change that much the layout, or if you want to change it, to keep using the same font, logo, and design that we use. But don't worry about it, because you will receive a style guide, so you will have all the information there on how to approach to the campaign and use the designs. Now we move to the action part of the campaign. Here, the objective is to maximize visibility and engagement at both local, at your market, and global level by sharing online. By amplifying reach and participation, we aim to make each campaign resonate widely and meaningful across all platforms that we have. The key message here is that biodiversity is often overlooked, but farmer markets help perceive and promote it. Through counting biodiversity, we aim to recognize their role, foster leadership through evaluation, and reward those cultivating biodiversity and traditional knowledge in general. The platforms here are the same that we explored in the pre-phase. Now we move to the key date of this part, which is May 12. Because on that day, we are going to release online the intention of the campaign A, so International Day for Biodiversity. And starting from May 19 till May 25, we have the campaign live at the markets and also online. Tips on what to do here are a lot. You are not like forced to use all these tips, but I wanted to give you like a variety of things that you could do, and then you can just choose which one you like the best. If you want to do all of them, we will be happy to, but that's your choice. So something that I strongly recommend is to create a content planning and preparation. To add the farmer market count campaign to your editorial calendar. and we suggest to put at least 2 posts per week. And remember, when you post about the campaign, always tag us. In that way, we can repost you and make the topic go bigger. Then on May 8th, as soon as you receive the graphic materials that we will give you, you can add your logo, personalize them, and start posting on your social media account, but also you can create some graphic to print and to put it at the market on a print version. What to do on the key counting day is, of course, to post the official Farmer Market Count Biodiversity Day graphic, to use the hashtag that you will find into the site guide, and of course to tease of what is coming next. So show to the people what they can expect at your market the day of the counting. Then other things that you can try to do is do market promotion. So announce the day of the counting at your market, so people can be interested about it and visit you on that specific day. Then you can share all the relevant information, so what, when, and why across your channels, and engage local press to let them know about your event. And in regarding of this one, you will see on the next slide, but we will give you some press text that you can share with local press to try and approach them. Then on social media, what we suggest to do is to do real time and reels. So if you have good connection at the market, you could try to do a Facebook or Instagram live streaming. Is it possible to do it also on YouTube? But it's a bit more complicated. So if you want to do something easier, I suggest you Facebook or Instagram. Then to post live storying during the counting day. So show people that are the market, the people who are active on the counting, and also you can try to ask to the consumers there some quick questions to see if they already know what we are doing with this campaign, or just simple question like, why does biodiversity matter to you? Later, so at the end of the day, something that you could do is to create or a static post or reels in order to do some highlights of the content that you captured during the day. We are almost done with tips here. We strongly encourage you to engage your community, to make people share their own stories with Farmer Market Count with the official hashtag. And same here, if they want to tag us, we will repost them. To highlight the diverse local and traditional product, but also celebrate what makes your market special. And then something that you can do, it's like to do a Instagram poll where you just maybe add 3 or 4 questions, and then you see what the people think about the biodiversity or your market in the specific. Here you will find some examples that you can use. Here you can see 2 different layouts that we will give you, and you will not receive just this one, but some more are coming. And you can use this one, for example, to announce the day that you're counting at the market, here to build anticipation. So you can just, or again, take these 2, add your logo and post it. Or if you want to edit them and make it more personalized for your market, you can do that. Now we go to the post phase of the campaign. So the final part of the campaign. Here we aim to keep the momentum going by sharing results, stories, and key messages. These help Like this stage is important as we want to show that the impact goes beyond the counting day. And also we want to make people join us also for campaign B and C. The key message is that counting biodiversity doesn't end with the count. It's when the real impact begins. By sharing results and stories, we want to celebrate the achievement, highlight the value of biodiversity, and keep the community engaged. The platforms to use here are the same as of the one that we mentioned before. The key dates here, we don't have the specific date yet, but we have the range. So at the beginning of June, we will share some results of the campaign A. And of course, we will give you key facts and data. And at the end of June, we will share a complete report of this first campaign. And you can share that one on your channels too. Tips on what to do here. So in the beginning of June, what you can do is to post the key facts and data that we will give you. You can highlight your own market contribution, so the number that you collected and not the global number that we will do all together. And then you can also reinforce the message about biodiversity, farmer market, and the importance of that one. Another tip still here is to engage media and stakeholders. So you can share insight with local press and partner, send a recap or a new press release with your results and the picture. Highlight why your market is involved in biodiversity and what does it mean for you. And also reach out to local blogs, radio, or simply some groups who might share your story and make it visible. Then you can thank your community, vendor and shoppers and volunteers with a dedicated post on Reel. Share the behind the scene of the counting day. So this is what happened, how we managed to do it. And also really invest in the people who helped you make the day at the market happen. At the end of June, we will share the full campaign report. And of course, you can feel free to share it with on social media, or also again to me, to local press, radio, and stakeholders. Of course, always keep the conversation going, because we don't want this campaign to end at the day of the counting or as soon as we have the results ready, but we want to always keep going about this campaign and prepare at best for campaign B and C. So here you have a list of things that we will give you. Some of them are already in the shared drive and others are coming soon. I'm not going to read all of this right now, otherwise we will waste a lot of time. So don't worry, you will have these slides so you can see all the material for yourself. Then here, I've summarized for you the recap of the communication dates. Before you were seeing just the one specific for the 3 phases. Here you have all of them, sorry. And now what's next? So April 22, I will conduct a webinar on Canva. So I will show you how to navigate Canva and create a design from scratch. Use ready-made template and customize them to make it personal for your market. But always, please don't forget that one to always use our layout and our style. Then we will edit layouts, add text, images, and make design visually appealing. And again, here, follow the FMCount style. The other webinar that we will conduct, I just realized here, I'm sorry, the date is wrong. I will correct this, is April 29. Sorry. I made a mistake on this slide, but don't worry, we will change it. This one on April 29th is about the photos and videos at the market. So here I will show you how to capture the pictures and videos at the market, the right angle, the zoom, non-zoom, when the focus that you want to do on a specific product and things like that. Then I will show you the best format. So if it's like vertical or horizontal for different platforms, and the key things to focus while shooting the pictures, and also some video ideas you can do at the market with your people working there, but also consumers. And here, last but not least, we have the old timeline that I think you already saw this one, but it's like more general and like can give you a big picture of these following months. We're done.
Excellent, Julia. I am on, yeah. I think you can see how creatively and how hard the the International Secretariat team have been working on creating a cohesive message that we may not be the place where there's an endless supply of products because we work with small family farmers. But where we excel is in the incredible diversification of products. So this is an opportunity to share that information. And when I look at the questions that came through, throughout the on the chat, we did try and respond to them, but I think Julia did a remarkable job in probably answering most of those questions. What you can see here is we are providing a lot of heavy back office communication templates for you, the method to evaluate the biodiversity, and I think also a sense of lightness and fun, because these are beautiful stories, beautiful products that the farmers markets deliver on a regular basis. Now, we recognize this is one of the difficult challenges of a campaign that operates throughout the world. We are all at different stages of the seasons and the beginning of, for some, it's summer has not even arrived in the end of May. Some of your markets may not even be operating, or they may just be opening then. And there are different ways to participate in the campaign. You can simply share the international communications that'll come from the Roman office. You can adapt them to help tell your story via communications. If your market is not yet open, it may be, quite honestly, difficult to conduct the study. However, if you're getting ready to open because the season is, approaching, you could use the sheets as a way of forecasting what is going to be your biodiversity for opening day. And that's something that maybe we can do a separate one-on-one or a smaller webinar on. But we also know that not everyone can or will participate in each of the 3 phases of the campaign. But we could not let World Biodiversity Day go by without that being one of the things that we know our farmers markets excel. If there are any questions, we have just a few minutes. If there was anyone that wanted to raise their hand, people have been great about putting stuff in chat. Or I don't know if Carmelo, I am so glad that you're here. If there's anything you wanted to add, we'd love to hear from you as well, our Director General.
Hi, Richard. I take the opportunity just to thank you all for the excellent job that you have done, leading by you, Richard, together with Viola, Julia, Manuel, all the team. I would like just to underline the importance of this campaign for everyone, because the outcome of this campaign can be to show to the world how the farmers market count in our each communities, but also all around the world. I think that this is the moment. This is the moment to surf the wave in order to show the importance of farmers market, in order to face many of the main issues that the world is facing, from the hunger to the migration to the preservation of biodiversity, that means the life of the planet. So I think that this is not just a communication or marketing campaign. This is a campaign that can show the importance of the work that every one of us is doing in our country in order to redesign the food system through the farmers market. So please join the campaign. Please share the campaign with other friends, with other associations. Don't leave the campaign only inside the World Farmers Market Coalition, only inside ourselves, but use this campaign to be in contact with the other people, to connect other people, to bring other people in our community, because this will help us to enlarge our community. So good luck to everyone for this campaign, and thank you, Richard, for the excellent job. Thank you, Viola, Julia again, Manuel, Barbara, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Carmelo. And I'm seeing so many familiar faces. I'm so happy to see so many of the Campagna Amica colleagues that I haven't seen for several months. And I see new markets as well as old markets, ones that have been around for many years. This is an opportunity to remind your local stakeholders of how in the farmers market we have choice for consumers. Consumers are not just being handed one variety of lemon, and therefore a lemon is what we give you. In the farmers markets, we may have so many different varieties of lemons, and this is the power of consumer choice. And I think for some of the brand new markets that are still in their first year, Iman, I see you in Alexandria, your market is this bright flower that has emerged in Alexandria, where farmers are able to rediscover that they could actually bring products that there was no market for before to the farmers market. And you have an opportunity to broadcast to the wider world of consumers and food interests in Egypt that we could begin to invest in biodiversity and pluralism. So whether you are a market of 20 years or a market of 20 weeks, this is an opportunity to tell the story of one of our great strengths that is very often difficult to tell. And I must say that when you fill out the forms, I know that we will have an extraordinary job to try and calibrate the different products that we may not even know them. We'll have to look up the name because we're not familiar with it either in your language, or we're not even familiar with that variety of product. That's exciting, because I think that's also part of what we hope to demonstrate, is how deliciously messy our world is, because we're not orchestrated with just one or two or three varieties of something, but we have a world of biodiversity that we are preserving and promoting. With that, we are almost at the top of the hour. I thought there were some wonderful questions, some difficult questions that were asked. I hope that all of the presentations that that in particular Julia presented. There's a lot of content for you. We also know that a lot of content can be overwhelming. Please do not be overwhelmed by this campaign. This should be a fun and light activity, and it should deliver some surprise when you look at the number of breeds or varieties of products that we have and that you have in your market. It will be a wonderful placeholder to understand where we go when we study it a year from now. Now the link for the shared drive. I don't know if Manuel, you've put that into the chat, but I know that it's in, I think, the emails that we have sent out. But you know what? Let me not misspeak. I know Julia knows the answer to this question.
Yes, I do. I just wanted to let you know that some of you who are not registered to the big campaign, you should do it right away, because we will give you all the information with all the relevant links for shared drive, calendar, and everything on that email. So if you just join this webinar without registration, we suggest you to register, and we will send you here the link to the application form. So please register there.
And with that, we are at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for giving us so much of your time. We know that time is the most valuable thing that we have. And we know that this represents doing one more thing in your already complicated market, but we're grateful that you will join with us, because I think together we make the case that we are more powerful, more diverse, and stronger. Thank you for our translators for helping to share. One of the other important elements of biodiversity is the diversity of languages, and that we will be able to project a multilingual affront on the forces of monocrop agriculture by showcasing how joyously diverse and biodiverse we are. So do sign up and join the campaign so that you get the link of where all the resources are, and do join us on the 22nd and on the 29th, where we'll have some very practical webinars on how to utilize the Canva tool for photo, for video, and for communications. All right, with that, everyone, goodbye. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening. I see Ha. We'll have a wonderful evening from all corners of the world. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone. And thank you.
Bye-bye.
Secretary in Rome.
Bye, Carmelo. Thank you.